I don't think that there's ever a point where a relationship is kind of like not moving. I think it's either moving in a positive or a negative direction. Mm-hmm. And if you don't choose to apologize and do so quickly, then things can fester really quickly. Mm-hmm. And if you choose to apologize, then the other direction, you're starting to rebuild those positive emotions.
Yeah. And I remember a specific time where one of your siblings had some feedback for you, and she was pretty mad. And she had pointed out some things that were true. It's like, well, yeah, that's something that would be good for you to talk about. And I said, John Andrew's a smart guy. He probably has some other perspective on that. But it was interesting because at that point she was upset enough that as I listened to her, I said, well, hold on a second. Before you talk to him, I want you to, just tell me 10 good things about him, because you're sounding overbearing right now. And she was like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to go and, two shotgun barrels full and shoot. And I was like, well, that's not going to be very helpful. And she couldn't immediately tell 10 things. I mean, she didn't want to say anything good in the moment. And so I said, well, if that's where you're at, you're in no position to try to go and give him any type of correction. And so she had to sit with that more. And after she came back to me, she said, thank you, because she was almost blinding herself to the good and not being as open as she needed to be. And I remember several months after that, she had gone out of her way to point out for you some cool things that you had done. And it was really clear to me that she had taken to heart, that she needed to look again for the good. And then she found so much that she turned it into an article and wrote about the cool stuff that you had done for her. And I was touched. I was almost in tears, like, wow. It gave me a new perspective of you through her eyes, the way that the things that you had done for her. And it gave her a new appreciation for you, because she took the time to be grateful. And so, like, I look at that and I just think, praise God that we had worked things through, and it was an expectation that this is how things are going to be.
That article touched me a lot too, because frankly, I didn't remember half the stuff that she wrote. And it was like at the point that she brought up, oh, you taught me this, and we had this conversation. We were in Phoenix and this happened. I was like, oh yeah, totally forgot about that. For me, it didn't feel like it was this monumental thing.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool that you, I mean, it obviously benefited me, so thank you. But it's also so cool that you pushed her in that direction, because growing up, despite the fact that we would apologize, despite the fact that we would have dinner, I did not get along at all when I was younger with my sister Gabrielle. And this is not news to anybody. She would say the same thing about me. We were both very hard-headed people, and we butt heads all the time. And I will never forget, she was probably 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. And we were at church for our family holy hour on Sunday evening. And she just disappeared. We couldn't find her anywhere. And the church that we went to was kind of secluded, so the odds that she had been kidnapped were not terribly high. But for whatever reason, I had this moment where I confronted the idea that she may have been kidnapped and might be gone. And I was terrified and shaking and so nervous about it. And that was the moment that I realized, you know what? Despite all of the conflict that we have, despite the fact that our personalities don't really mesh right now, I know that I love her, because the way that I'm responding to the idea of her being gone was not like, oh, finally, thank you, don't have to deal with this. It was completely the opposite. It was like, I don't know what I would do without this person in my life. And so I'm glad that for my younger sister that you were able, through, a parenting moment, to kind of bring some of those positive things out.